Hello everyone, Jonjoker12 back here again with another video, very interesting video to do, something I didn't really expect to happen, or at least not to happen so soon. Essentially, if you know what's going on, if you're a hardcore fan or a genuine fan, or if you're just a genuine follower or subscriber to your favorite big Dragon Ball YouTuber or Dragon Ball Twitter account, you pretty much know what's going on right now. And that is, of course, Dragon Ball Super is coming to an end. It's kind of funny that it had to happen right at the exact moment that I had so many Dragon Ball Super content I wanted to do in 2018. Like, I mean, granted, Dragon Ball Super has never been the kind of content that really helped my channel out, but I had so much plans and now it's all gone. It's kind of ironic that it had to be at the exact time placement where the show comes to its inevitable end. But it is what it is, and we have to accept that. Overall, the entire internet, if you're a Dragon Ball purist or a Dragon Ball fan or a casual, you pretty much are going crazy. And I'll give a general gist of what this news means and what it is actually. Everybody knows what it is, so I don't want to go into too much depth because I'm not really that great at explaining stuff, and I'm pretty sure there's other Dragon Ball, I'm pretty 100% confirmed, I already know this, that there's tons of other YouTubers and tons of other Twitters that have gone into this in immense detail on what this means, and not to mention going into immense detail on their pandering and reassuring to you, the viewer, that, hey, stick around my channel because I have a whole bunch of new content to do. And I'm not trying to call anybody out because that's not the purpose of this video, because, you know, YouTube is in a weird state and content creators are in a weird position. So everyone's got to do what they got to do to survive in this platform, myself included. So I'm not here to bash on anybody, nor am I here to call anybody out. You got to do what you got to do to keep your subs, and you got to do what you got to do to keep the lights on, so to speak. So I'm not here to bash, but I do find that little tidbit of little news kind of hilarious. Like, oh, Super's gone, but hey, stick around my channel. We got it. Essentially, the news is that Dragon Ball Super will be coming to an end in March. Dragon Ball Super staff is going to go focus on the movie. For those you don't know, there's a new Dragon Ball movie coming out in December of this year. However, because they're going to be focusing on that, they can't focus on Dragon Ball Super. So there's a new anime coming in to take on that time slot that Toei Animation is going to be focusing on, which is a pretty big deal on the specific anime they're focusing on. And I don't know a whole bunch of details on that specific anime. All I know is Dragon Ball Super is coming to an end, and all the animators are going to focus on the movie. That's essentially all we have that's confirmed. And for me personally, even though I gave my condolences on Twitter, like when the news broke, which was, I guess, yesterday at this point in time, I decided, you know what? I kind of want to make a video on it. I just want to just give my 2 cents on the whole situation and kind of just give my opinion on, like, how I feel about this whole situation, because it's the big talk of the town, and a lot of people are kind of blowing this out of proportion as is already, and I just want to give, like, my basic opinion on it. Essentially, Dragon Ball has been a very big part of my life, and it's been a big part of me growing up as a kid. I grew up on Dragon Ball in the 90s. I grew up on the various dubs. I watched the Spanish dub. I even watched, you know, I think some cheap bootleg Chinese dubs back in the day. I just watched so many dubs, but the big ones were, of course, the Ocean dub or the Pioneer dub, and of course the Funimation dub. And I grew up with this entire series all the way till now. And this last couple years were a big couple of years for Dragon Ball fans. We had all the content we could ever wish for. We had a new manga, a new anime, we had a new movie, we had several redubs of old anime, and we had a whole bunch of video games. It was a really good time for Dragon Ball fans, and Dragon Ball Super was a big part of that. However, Dragon Ball Super did a lot of bad at the same time. Dragon Ball Super was not a perfect show by any stretch of the imagination, and because of the terrible decisions that Toei Animation did and Toriyama in the beginning stages of the show, kind of inevitably left it open to this kind of outcome, which is its end. And for me personally, they only have themselves to kind of blame, which it may or may not be. But if I was going to play devil's advocate and say, Dragon Ball Super's done, it's never coming back, the best thing I can say is, well, it's kind of their fault. They really just ruined the show before it began. They didn't set up any real pre-production for the animators and staff and storytellers, and Toriyama had the brilliant idea of rehashing the movies, which Toei Animation inevitably did, which was pointless. We had a terrible tournament saga that meant nothing, really interesting Trunks saga that had terrible execution and a overblown, bloated tournament saga again that we're dealing with now. And that all that combined with bad animation, combined with bad storytelling, made a terrible reputation that Dragon Ball Super had to deal with for so many of its early years. I make it sound like it's been on for a long time. It's only been up for a couple years, let's just be honest here. But for those early stages of the show, all these little factors snowballed into the bad reputation that it has to this point in time. And, you know, it's really their fault. And I guess the only thing I can take away from this news, that Super coming to an end, is that hopefully they can learn from this and do things different. Am I sad? In a sense, yes, because even though Super did, like I said on my Twitter, a lot of good and a lot of bad, I think the best thing that it did was give us a voice. I mean, before Dragon Ball Super and before the Dragon Ball Z movies, Dragon Ball on YouTube and on the internet was kind of, it was like an old Western. Like, there was hardly anything there. There was hardly any content. There were some, but you barely knew them, and if you did know them, they barely did that much content, and a lot of it was just retreading of old material, and some of it good, some of it okay. But then Super came along, and it gave us all an open forum to discuss. And whether that be open discussions, debates, rants, reactions, analysis, breakdowns, recaps, spoilers, all this other kind of stuff, good or bad, it gave us a voice. And that was kind of like the only really great thing that Super gave us. And for all of its faults, I view that as its best pro. I think it was really cool that it gave us that ability to talk about the show without feeling bad or dirty about it. It was kind of nice while it lasted, so to speak. I think the two biggest things that I really look back on now that this show is kind of coming to an end by the end of this year is the fact that, number one, it created an entirely new, weird, dark, kind of almost pretentious and just disturbing new look at the fan base, like a new mindset, like where everybody was obsessed with Dragon Ball Super content instead of just Dragon Ball content, which is really disturbing in my eyes. It was kind of cool for some, and it obviously was very successful and made a lot of content creators successful, but in the great scheme of things, it was just really weird to see how the landscape changed when Super became a thing. So that's something that I look back on and think, that really just sucked. The second thing that I find strange about this whole ending of news, it shows how privileged these new fans are of Super. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be all high and mighty and say, hey, you're not a true fan, you know, the ending of Super is going to truly divide the audience and really show the men from the boys. I'm a true hardcore, like, who gives a shit? It's cartoons. It's Japanese animations. Like, who really cares? It's like Star Wars. It's like, when you start to take Star Wars too seriously, you start to look like an asshole. I mean, like, sure, there's good storytelling and then there's bad storytelling. But then there's just being overly obsessive over something that's stupid to begin with. And that's how you have to view Dragon Ball to an extent. But the thing that I found so weird about this whole news breaking out and people going so crazy is to show how privileged certain fans are. I mean, it's kind of funny. It's like, if you've been around a while, like myself and others, not to say that I'm important by any stretch of the imagination, but if you've been around since like the 90s till now with this series, then you know already that this show has its ups and its downs. It's going to be on the air, sometimes it's not. Sometimes we'll have content, sometimes we won't. That's how we dealt with Dragon Ball. I mean, hell, we dealt with so many years before Super existed. Before even the movies, before Battle of Gods, it was dead. There was nothing cool. Sure, there was maybe like a video game that no one played, like Connect or something, I don't know. But like, there was nothing. We had nothing. There were so many years of zero content for us to really talk on. All we had was the old stuff. And as great as the old stuff was, we dealt with it. It was okay. So I find it so interesting to see how the fan base is reacting to this news because, I mean, like, if you dealt with Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball ending, and then Dragon Ball GT coming and going, and then Dragon Ball Z Kai being a thing, and then it's gone, and then it came back, and then it's gone again. Then we had the movies, then we got Kai again, then we have Super, and now that's gone. It's kind of interesting to see how the fandom's kind of reacting to that, and I guess it just shows how privileged certain fans are, and I guess the age of certain fans. I just find that very interesting. Yeah, but overall, yeah, Dragon Ball Super coming to an end. I think the tweets I said on my Twitter pretty much say it all. I'm not going to say it's perfect, nor will I say it's terrible, you know, because Dragon Ball Super on its good days, was really good. But it also had a lot of bad days, and it did a lot of stupid stuff, but it also did a lot of cool stuff. And also, it grew the fandom. For better or worse, for whichever content creator came in and went and used the series for their advantage, whether it be reactors or clickbaiters or whichever, at least the series got traction. It gave us more content to behold and love and enjoy and trash at the same time. And I'm grateful for that. I like that. I'm privileged to be in this weird world where we got this kind of content. And hell, this year alone, we don't have to bitch and moan. We don't have to complain. If you are really, really into Super and you're sad about this, there's so much more content that we get alone this year that's going to be great. We got the rest of this show, which will last until the end of March, I guess, or till March. Then we have the movie, which will close out the year in December. We got Dragon Ball Fighter Z, which is coming out. We got the rest of the Funimation dub, which they're just starting the Goku Black stuff. And we got the rest of Toyotaro's manga. So for the rest of 2018, we're pretty much covered on Dragon Ball content. There's no need to complain for the rest of this year. We have a lot of content to enjoy, and that's okay with me. I'm alright with that. With all these things being said and done, the only things I look forward to post-2018 and the year 2019 is, number one, what kind of content we can look forward to. You know, what after the movie's done, after Funimation finishes its dubs, after the game has been released and people have enjoyed it, and once it's going to be interesting where it goes from there. Like, will the manga continue? Will the anime come back? Will we have a different kind of anime? Are we going to ever get a new anime? Are they going to just do movies? It's just going to be a very interesting thing to look forward to in 2019. Whether it be, like I just said, a new movie or a new series that has nothing to do with Super. It's going to be very interesting, and I look very much forward to that year. Second, it's going to be interesting to see how the fandom restructures itself by the end of this year. If there's anything I definitely look forward to outside of 2019 Dragon Ball content, is definitely the way the fandom's going to react and change. I mean, even though I don't consider myself a Dragon Ball YouTuber per se, I am a YouTuber and I do love Dragon Ball. And even though I am an outsider looking in, I very much am a part of the fandom. So it's going to be very interesting to see, like, where's the fandom go from here? Where do content creators go from here? What is Dragon Ball going to be like? What is it going to look like by the end of 2018? That's the thing that I look forward to. Alright, so yeah, I think I pretty much gave out all of my personal thoughts and 2 cents on the whole situation. Dragon Ball Super, it's coming to its inevitable end, which I still find hilarious. I mean, it's just one of those things where everybody who, like, I guess legitimately viewed Super as kind of like, not really a cancer, I would say, but kind of just like a goofball, like whatever series, as kind of like, man, why don't they just end that already? It's just such a shitty show, and now it's actually coming to its end, I guess. And it's kind of like, oh, so what am I going to talk shit about this week? Now, it's kind of funny, like, as much as I hate to be the person who's standing all high and mighty, like, oh, I'm the true fan, I'm the true tuber, or whatever the fuck that means, it's like, you know, it's just really going to be interesting what kind of Dragon Ball content we get after 2018, and what the fan base is going to look like. Like, where is everybody going to go without their clickbait and their spoiler-esque titles and thumbnails and reactions, and it's going to be very, very interesting. I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, but I'm just saying it's going to be very interesting. Dragon Ball Super may die. That banner may come down, but Dragon Ball will continue. Whether that be an entirely new show, more movies, specials, games, a new manga, who knows? But Dragon Ball as a brand, as a franchise, will continue. If they discontinue the Super brand, that's okay. I'm alright with that. But the Dragon Ball stuff, it's always going to be here. The same way it was before Super existed. So I hope everybody realizes that. I really am interested in going back and seeing GT. Like, I went back and I looked up, like, all of my GT tapes. I looked up all my stupid Funimation release, like, GT tapes, and I'm like, I want to go back and watch this show again. I want to see, like, does this stuff hold up? I want to know, does it hold up? I want to rewatch Goku Super Saiyan 4 fight Baby. I want to see that. That seems kind of cool. I don't know. That's my opinion anyways. But yeah, overall, let me know what you personally think in the comment section below. Dragon Ball Super is coming to an end, at least for the remainder of 2018. What are your thoughts on that? What is the future of the fandom and franchise in 2019 moving forward? And, of course, your overall opinions. If there's anything I can give an update on is essentially I do have more Super content in the horizon. I ironically had all that set up before this news was even a thing. Looking back at it, I really should have released this stuff back in 2017. But that's not in the cards anymore. So if I look like a fucking fake fan by releasing so much Super content while it's off the air, keep in mind all this stuff was planned last year and was in the works already. That's all I can say on that front. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed. Comment below. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. I'd really appreciate that. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed. See you all later.